yesterday we covered few of the measures, right? Few of the sum function, average function, and how related functions work. And today I'll be covering few more measures, and uh, mostly it will be uh, regarding few more measures like uh, and there is something called calculated function, which is very important. So I will cover that and explain few things like how measure calculation works in the backend. And and I think like let's see how much we can cover. There will be few more functions left, and that we will be covering in next session if we will be able to cover today. So let me start with something called count function. Let me go. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, fine. So there's something called count function. So there are different type of count functions. Count A, distinct count, and count rows. So what are the difference between each of these count? So in each of these count function, we input only one argument, right? So the count function itself means it will count the number of cells in a column wherever there is that that has numbers and not text, right? So let's say I will show you. Mm, let's say let me go to some quantity is order. Yeah. So let's say this particular column, order quantity. So under order quantity, we will be having only numbers, right? No text. So here we can apply count function. So what it will do, it will count total number of rows that are there here. And the count function is applicable only to the numbers and not the text. So that is count. Whereas what does count A does? I will show you the demo also, but just now I'm talking theoretically. So when we use count A function is used whenever whenever you want to count the uh, number of non-empty cells. What does it mean? Either it is numerical or non-numerical. Like there is no limitation of having numbers. Even if there is some text, that will be counted when we use count A function. Right? So that is the difference between count and count A. Both counts the number of uh, cells in a column. The difference is count will be applicable or will be counting the number of cells only when there are numbers in the column, and count A will work in both numerical and non-numerical values. Right? The third is distinct count. So what does it do? Distinct count counts the number of distinct or unique values in a column. So let's say in order quantity, what do we see? There are multiple ones over here, multiple twos, multiple threes, right? So what it will do? It will count unique value. If we put distinct count, then it will count number of one as like wherever there will be one, it will count it as one, right? So distinct value would be if I see here 1 2 3, so distinct count will give you 3, like the output of distinct count function would be 3 because there are only 3 unique values inside this column. So that is what distinct count does. And count rows, uh, inside count rows we input the table name. For the others, count and distinct count, we input the column name, but for count rows, we input the table name as a parameter over here, right? So, what does count rows does? It count the number of rows in a table. Uh, so, in this table, how many total number of rows are there? Either you could do using some of the columns, or what you can do instead, if you don't want to use any column, you could do like for any, like you can just write count uh, rows and the table name, so the total number of rows will be counted. So it's very similar to the count a function, right? Because what does count a does, it it counts the number of non-empty cells. But but what will happen, let's say if you under count a, if you take some of the column wherever you have some missing values, in that case count a function will not count that particular row because it has missing value. But count rows, what does it does, count rows will count all the number of rows, even if it's missing, even if it's non-missing, numerical, non-numerical, anything. It will simply count the number of rows in a table. So I will show you few of the count functions by creating measures over here, right? So let me go to the returns table, and here, let's say I want to uh, create something called total returns, right? So in what does total returns means, let's say if a customer came and returned two items, here if you see, if a customer came and returned two items, let's say order quantity is 2. In few cases what you can see is there are two orders, two quantity returned, right? In we have created some one field called quantity returned, right? So how we have created quantity return? We have done sum of return quantity. So what it will does? Quantity returned, right? Sum of return quantity. Let me go to returns table then. Yeah. So under return quantity, if you see, you have like one or two. So what this quantity return is doing, it is summing of all the values inside return quantity column, right? So what it will do, wherever in the rows there is 2, this 2, it will sum this also, like it will sum the entire rows. So in this case what is happening, the it will be counted twice, right, in quantity returned column, because quantity returned is calculated using sum function. So we are summing of everything. But let's say if you want to count that once, right? So return table includes row for every single return. Here, if you see, for every single return, what are we seeing? On 3rd July, product 477 is returned, and the quantity returned is 1. Then on 11th July, product 477 is returned and the quantity returned is 1. So we can count the number of rows to get total returns, like how many total returns happened. If I want to see, I don't want to see like total sum of return quantity, right? Because if I do the sum of return quantity, then it will be counted twice in the for few of the rows like this, right? So what is happening on 28th June 2017, 528 product is returned and the return quantity is 2. So if I do count, it will be counted once, but if I do sum, it will be counted twice. So uh, I want to count this row only once and create a new measure called total returns, right? So what I will do, I will create one measure wherein I will write total returns, and then I will use count rows function. So what does count rows function does? Count rows function will count each of the row in this table. like how many rows are there in this table, right? So count row is the function. I started the open parenthesis and I have to put table name. So I will put table name as AW returns, right? So total returns are is created. So the difference between total return and quantity returned is, in quantity return, you will get the total number of quantity, total number of return quantity. But in total returns, what you will get the unique or the total number of rows that is there in this table, right? So it will be little different. The quantity return and the total return will be slightly different, right? So let me actually pull here total return and show you like how does it vary. So if you see here, what are we seeing? We see that total returns and quantity return are pretty much similar, although there are slight variation. Why? Because this will tell me that vast majority of returns happened with single item, right? So uh, basically like there are very few handful of multiple item returns, but mostly single items. So that's why under quantity return we are seeing 1828, where in total returns we are seeing 1809. So very few are there with multiple returns, right? So that's why like the total returns is pretty much in line with the quantity return. Okay, so any question, anyone till now? No question.
I'm confused.
Okay, what is the confusion?
You were just talking about some single items and multiple items. Where do you get that from? None of what you're saying is on the chart.
So from here, single item, multiple item, return quantity I just showed, right? Return quantity means how many quantity they have returned. If they have returned one quantity, that means they have returned single item. If they have
Mm.
returned multiple quantities, that means they have returned more than one item, right?
I see.
So I'm saying since the total returns are pretty much similar with the quantity returned, that means how we have calculated total returns. We have calculated total returns using count rows function. So it will count the number of rows in the returns table. But what is quantity return? Quantity return is the sum of the return column, right? So since this is pretty much similar, so that means that there are very uh, uh, few returns that happened with single item. Single item means wherein the quantity return quantity is one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how come the quantity returned is not the same as the total return since
Because
those
total return is counting the number of rows, but quantity return is summing up the return quantity. So what will happen wherever you see two rows, return quantity two in quantity return, it will count this as, it will sum this as two, right? But in total return, it will take this row as one. It will count it as one. So for all these rows, wherever you see two, in total returns, it will be counted only once because we are doing count rows. So it will be
it
counted
doesn't
one.
count the actual quantity returns. It just counts the rows.
Yes, it is
I
counting the
see.
rows. Yeah.
Oh,
Total returns is counting the rows. Why? Because we have used count rows function,
I see.
right? So it will row the count once. But in return quantity, we have function which is called, sorry, in quantity returned, we have function which is sum. So what will happen? Sum of return quantity. So it will be added twice. For all these rows, it will be added twice. So quantity returned will be higher when compared to total returns.
But
Is it?
that's, I guess that part is a little bit confusing, the last thing that you said. When you're using some function, it's going to count all the rows twice.
Not all the rows twice. Wherever you see the quantity return is 2, it will be counted twice. Not counted twice. It is actually adding up that value because we are using the sum function here.
So what do you mean by count it twice? So does it mean that for an example, item number, the product key 352, the quantity return is 2. Will that be then counted as 4, or you just meant like it'll take, I don't know, what do you mean by it'll be counted twice?
Not counted twice. Tell me one thing. 1 minute. Let me create one table, then only understand what I'm trying to say.
No, you could have just repeated what you just said if you want to, because I'm following you. I get it, but the part that confused me is when you said when you're summing, when you're using the sum function, um, that every quantity or whatever that will be counted twice.
1 minute. Order quantity and quantity returned. Okay. Let's say order
Order
quantity
ID.
is 1, quantity return is 10. Sorry, 1. Order quantity, let me, order ID is 100 or maybe A, B, C, D. Okay. And this is quantity returned is 1, this is 2, this is 2. Okay. So let's say I write two function. One is total returns, in which I write count rows and this table name. Let's say table name is table. And then I write some other function in which quantity total quantity returned, wherein we have sum of quantity returned. So can you tell me the output of each of these? So what you will get from the first function, total
Mhm.
returns. What you will
So
get from here?
for the count rows would be 4,
Okay.
and then for the total quantity returned will be 6.
Yeah. So that is what I am telling you. So that is what I was telling you there also. What has happened for total quantity return, wherever the function sum is there, you see the value is 6. Why? Because it is summing up the entire rows. Summing up means for total quantity return, it is you have summed 2 instead of 1. Wherever when you calculated count rows, you have counted this row as 1, right?
Yeah,
So that
I
is what
see.
I'm saying here. So
Okay.
when you will when you will look for total returns, you will count this row as 1. So that's why it's coming 1809. But when you are doing quantity returned, it is 1828. Why? Because you have uh, somewhere 2 also in the column
Yeah,
quantity return. Is it clear
I
now?
yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. Similarly, I want to create mm, one more
Question.
measure. Yeah, go ahead, Akhilina.
Yeah. I mean, what is the purpose for counting row?
So if I want to, so total returns, right? Return table. What is return? Return table is having the list of total returns that is happening, right? So total returns means how many product has been returned in total. Individual product, I am saying, right? So if you see 478 you will see that I have received, let's say 478 product is helmet. I'm just giving an example. So you will say that I have received helmet today, helmet as a product. So that is one product you have received. But how many quantity you have received of product helmet? You will say I have received two quantity. So both are different things, right? So in total returns is signifying how many total product you have received, whereas quantity returned is how many quantity of total product you have received. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
So for me, I I'm the same way as Aklulu. I don't see that the point in having or using the row count function for that purpose, because the row count is going to count the rows that don't even have any values in them. Like if it may be an empty row, right? But it's just
Hey,
going to actually
Sure.
count. Huh?
So understood your question. I'll explain that. Uh, so you can use first thing is this is return table, right? So in
Mhm.
return table, it will never happen that there is no rows. Why? Because this table is dedicated to return. Wherever there has return happened on any date, it will capture that only. There will be no blank over here. Why? Because this is the return table. If you see, there is no blank. This
Oh, I see. Yeah, it works. Okay, yeah, it's dedicated for just return. So if there's no return, then it won't record it at all.
correct.
Okay, that makes sense. I
But
see.
if you want to use some other thing also, you can use it. Like let's say instead of count rows, right? Uh, uh, if you want to use, let's say, count function. So what does count does? Count will actually count all the rows wherever there is numerical value. I know return quantity will have only numerical value, and there will be no non-missing or non-empty rows, right? So instead of using count rows, you can use count function also. Count function, and instead of AW returns table, we will put column name over here under count function. So you can put um, return quantity and hit enter. There will be no change in the numbers. You see there is 1809 only, right? Or you could use count A also. Here everything will work because what is the formula? What is the count A function denotes? Count A function denotes counts the number of non-empty cells in a column, numerical or non-numerical. It will count everything. So we can put count A also. It will give me same result. In this case, I am saying I will
Right.
just show that how it works. So count A function, sorry, count A function, if I put and hit enter, total returns is still 1809, right? So this way you can use here anything since it has no empty values, and uh, count A function works for text or numerical, and count function works for numerical, and this column has numerical values. So you can use either count or count A, anything will work. And since there is non-empty values, you can use count A in this scenario, right?
All right.
So this is how we have calculated total returns. So the difference between total returns and quantity returned is quantity return is denoting me how many total number of quantity has been returned. It might happen that one product is returned, but quantity two has been returned. So in total returns, you will get the total number of uh, product that has been returned. And in quantity, you will get total number of quantity
bello,
of
ne
that
fas?
product that has been returned.
أمسك أمك
Okay, so
بتاعت
that is
شمير
like a
نقصتها
minor slight
كم
difference between
نسامكم
both the
نبرة
measures.
شارجر أنت كم فرق كنا واحد إذا
Sissy,
يفهم
Okay.
Sissy.
Now, let me quickly create one more measure, which is total volume of orders as a whole, right? So let me go to sales table and create total orders. Total orders, and what I'm writing is distinct count of order number. So let me go here and show you. So if I am in the sales table, what I see is in order number. If you see, let me actually make it descending. Okay. So what you see that there are okay. Hmm. So here there is no repetition. If I do descending, there are few orders that is repeating. So in in sales table, what is happening? If you see, the same order is repeating thrice. Let's say S074147, you see there are 3 rows. Why? Because the way it is entered is, let's say you have returned S074147, uh, the same order. If let's say you have in same order, you have not return, sorry, this is not return table, purchase table, sales table. So let's say in one order you have purchased 3 items, right? You have purchased helmet, you have purchased ball, you have purchased like any other thing, let's say hand gear or something, right? So in one order you went to the shop and you ordered once and you purchased multiple items, right? So that's how they have entered the order number S074147. You have purchased product 490, right? And order line item is 3. Order quantity is 1. So let's say you have purchased helmet 1. In the same order, you have purchased some other product, 605 hand gear or something, wherein the order line item is considered as 1 and order quantity, the quantity of that product you have purchased as 1, right? Similarly, in the same order, you have purchased the third product. So that's why the order number is repeating, because it might happen that in one order you have purchased multiple items, multiple products, right? So what I want to see is in total orders, I have created a measure in total orders where I am calculating distinct count of order number. What does I want to know? How many distinct orders has been placed, right? Here there are multiple orders that you see. So it will not give me, if I do count function, it will count each rows. It will not give me distinct count. I want to know how many distinct orders has been done. So for that, we will use distinct count function that we have used here, distinct count of order number column from AW sales. So in this case, if you see, if I pull, yeah. So you see quantity sold is 84174, although total orders is 25K only, right? Why? In total orders, you see unique orders that has been placed. So unique order is 25164, although the total quantity that has been sold is 84174, right? So it will happen that in one order there are multiple quantity that has been sold, multiple product has been sold, or multiple, or one product with multiple quantity has been sold, right? So that's why the quantity sold is way higher when compared to total orders. Any question? Is it clear? Okay. silence. Just confirm if you guys understood or not.
Yes
Yes.
and no.
Yeah, so if you have not understood, please ask me questions. So what is the confusion in total? Is there any confusion in this total orders measure?
Um,
What we are doing is under total orders, we are using measure function which is distinct count. So what does distinct count does? If you see distinct count row number 3, distinct count will count the number of distinct or unique values in a column. So in case of this, if I do distinct count of quantity return, so it will give me 2.
yeah,
Why? Because we have 1 and 2. Although it's repeating, but unique value is only 2. So if I do distinct count of quantity return, it will give me 2. In similar way, if I go here and do distinct count of order number, S07417 is repeating thrice, but in distinct count, it will count it only 1,
one.
right? S07444 is coming twice, but it will be counted only as 1.
Yeah.
So just give me 1 minute.
Mm.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, so is it clear like why under total orders we have only 25,164, but in quantity sold we have, so how we are calculating quantity sold? We are calculating quantity sold by summing up order quantity. So in order quantity, what will happen? There will be multiple order quantities, 2, 3, 3 will be there, 3, right? So it will sum up everything. But in distinct in total orders, it is calculating distinct count of order number, right? So that's why it's showing 25164.
It's
So
clear. Thank you so much.
okay. So we have calculated total orders using distinct count, right? And we have created total returns using count a function or count function. You can use anything here. Count rows will also work, right?
Oh, by the way, okay, yeah, is there a function that we can use for column count? I know it's probably
Yeah, so count function, all these works on the column only. Like if you see count function, count a, distinct count, everything works on column only. You input column name over
oh
here.
no, I'm saying the number of columns. You know, like we have row count.
Okay,
There's
number of columns you
mm,
want to count.
mhm.
Okay, So usually we don't use, but let me quickly check whether we have or not. Uh, I'm not aware of any such function to count the number of columns. No, I don't think there is something called readily available function to count number of columns, although we can write some complex query to somehow calculate it, but not like this function, like simple function. There is no such function which will count the number of columns.
Yeah, so the count function doesn't actually count the number of columns for us.
No, it will count the number of rows for you.
I see.
Mhm. Okay. So, yeah. Now, I will talk about one thing, but don't get confused. I just wanted to tell that how it works. So, uh, how it works is actually, if you see here, uh, how how DAX works, I want to talk about that, right? So, if you add each of these, don't get confused, but just try to understand what I am trying to say, right? Uh, if you see total orders, right? We have accessories, category accessories, bikes, and clothing. And then there is fourth category components, right? So let's say if you add accessories, bikes, and components, how much it would be? Around 17K for this and 14K for this, right? So 17 and 14 would be 31K and then almost 7K, right? So 38K, almost 38K. Like if you sum each of these three rows, it will give me 38K. But under total, we are seeing 25K, right? Ideally, what does total signify? Total signifies like the everything, like each individual, if I remove, what is the total number of unique orders that has been placed, right? And these are accessories, bike, clothing, like based on the category name, what is the total number of orders that has been placed, right? So if you see, this is not matching. If you sum up accessories, bikes, and clothing, add on each of these three, it will not match with 25K. It is not matching with 25K. It will not happen in all the cases. If you add on this 1130, 429, and 269, right? It will give you the same result, I think. Let me quickly check. So it is giving me the same result, 1828. So basically 1130 is accessories, 429, 269 clothing. So if I want to see the total, it is giving me 1828, which is actually sum of all of these three. But in the case of total orders, it is not matching. So something is off here, right? So
Yeah.
how does DAX work? Uh, so basically, this total is not getting created by adding all these three rows or all these four rows. It is not getting created by that. How does it work is like the total is not calculated by summing all numbers that is at the in these rows above. This total is calculated in a way like this is this has no visibility into these rows, right? This is calculated by evaluating total orders measure without any filter context applied. That means like if there are no filters, if there are no filters applied over here, let's say nothing is here. Let me, yeah. If there is nothing here, what is the total number of rows? So it is giving me 25,164. It is not doing sum of all these three. So the way it is calculated, it has no visibility like what is at the top. It is calculated on the total orders, the total orders measure that we have created without applying any filter context. And that's why the total rows is not matching the total. This 25,164 is not matching with the sum of these three. While this, let's say 6976, how does this is getting calculated? So this 6976 is calculated by evaluating total orders measure with the filter context wherein the category name is clothing. So how it actually works is, first of all, it will go to the category name, like category, since we have applied here category, right? So it will actually filter out the category name, like it will filter the everything by the category name equal to clothing. So let me actually show you. Let me actually talk to you about this thing, like how the everything works, right? Uh, Actually, this is calculate, no? So right now, let it be. I will talk about that later on. So let me go to total orders, AW sales, right? So let's say S07147, right? This order, if you see which particular product has been purchased in this order, product key is 490, right? If I go to product lookup to know like which product is this, the name of this product. So let me go to product lookup.
490.
Yeah, so 490 is here. So I will go to product lookup. Uh, Let me actually look for 490, right? So is that the one? Product key is 490, right? So under product lookup, I will look for 490.
It's not there.
Why is it not here? I'm just thinking. Oh, it's not sorted actually. Let me sort it. Hmm. Okay, you see product 490, right?
Mhm.
Under so 490 is having subcategory as 21, right? If I go to subcategory, if I go to subcategory, so 490 is subcategory 21 and 490, the product name is short sleeve classic jersey that has been sold. If I want to go to look into, so basically I want to look for the category name. I'm looking for the category name for that particular product that has been purchased. So 490 is having
Right.
subcategory as 21, right? So I will go to subcategory table, and this 21, subcategory 21 is related to product category key 3, right?
Mhm.
And under product category 3, it belongs to category name clothing. So
Mhm.
that's how you have drilled down, because that is the relationship you have built, right? So basically, this is clothing. That means the first item that you see S07, like order number S074,147, wherein you see product key as 490. That means this particular order, this product belongs to clothing category, right? Similarly, you can do for these two others also. So 605, in the similar way, if you do, you will get to know that it belongs to product category bikes, right? And in the similar way, you can do the same thing on your own, but I have done that. So this 605 belongs to bikes category, and 538 belongs to accessories category. Okay. So basically what is happening is this, in this sales table, in one order, you have ordered multiple products, and each of these products belongs to other categories, right? So 490 is clothing, 605 is bikes, and 538 is accessories. So in one order, you have three products with different category, right? So what will happen under total orders? If you see here under total orders, uh, we are what we are seeing, how many unique orders has been, uh, uh, how many total unique orders are present, right? That's what we are seeing under total orders, correct? If I see total orders, if you see total orders, what is the formula? Distinct count of order number. So how many unique orders, distinct orders are present, right? So if I see here order number S07417, it will be counted one in this calculation, 25164, it will be counted one, but it is counted thrice here, like that S04174, S0, sorry, S07417 will be present here also in accessories, will be present here also in bikes, and will be present here also in clothing, because in one order they have placed multiple, like they have purchased multiple products which is belonging to different categories, right? So basically that is calculated thrice. So that's why, like, when you sum this, no, this will not come up to total orders. This will be, in this scenario, it will be more, it will be higher. Why? Because one, in one order you have multiple items that belongs to different categories, right? So it is being counted thrice, in accessories also, in bikes also, in clothings also, right? So the main idea over here is to tell you that this total row that you are seeing is not being calculated by summing up all these three, as we do in our wherever, like, normal scenario. What happens is total you will do by summing up all these. That doesn't happen in the DAX measure. The DAX measure is calculated very separately, like very differently. What DAX measure will do, DAX measure will look into, like, if any filter is applied or not here. Like for these, what does it do? First of all, it will filter out the clothing category, and then it will see, like, how many orders are belonging to clothing category, and it will give you the answer over here. So each of these rows that you see are independent of each other, right? And this 25164 is being calculated by not summing of all these rows. 25164 are being calculated without applying any filter, because there is no category name over here. That means you, total means you see in the total table how many distinct or unique rows you see, and then it has been given 25164, right? So I will talk about this more, like how DAX works. Like I have one thing that I wanted to show, like step by step how it works in some time, but that is how DAX works. Like it is calculating separately. So any question, or you guys got confused? Like,
No, so if we didn't use the distinct count, I guess, would that have summed everything up and we
no,
would
no, no,
have,
no, no. DAX will always, it will never work like this. So how it works is, uh, the DAX measure, or the measure is calculated in such a way that it looks for the filter context. By filter context, I mean that whatever you put over here, right? That thing will be filtered in the table. So how it works is, category name is accessories, right? So let me actually talk about this here. Don't think about calculate here right now. Let me just don't look for calculator. So what happens is step 1, if you see, filter context is detected and applied, right? So what happens is you see accessories, category name is accessories, right? So it will actually filter the entire table with category name that is belonging to accessories, right? So the way we have done it, the way we did it, uh, I know that 490 belongs to clothing, right? Let's say
Mhm.
this one, clothing. Let's say I want to calculate total orders for category name clothing. So what it will does, wherever the
We can't hear you.
yeah, just a moment. I'm just
Oh,
uh looking for thing how to explain you guys. Uh, product category. Okay. Uh, okay. So product category key is 3, right? So I will go to product category 3. Product category 3 belongs to subcategory 24, 25, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, like all this 18, 19, 20. So starting from 18 till 25, you have product category 3, right? Product category 3 belongs to clothing. So what it does is, as soon as you come here for clothing, it will filter out the table with the clothing category, right? So what it will do, under category name clothing, it will look for category key 3, and then in the related table, that is subcategory, it will filter 3 and then see, okay, what all subcategory is there: 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. These are the subcategory belonging to category key. So it will look only for these rows. It will not bother about any other rows, because I know that clothing belongs to category 3, right? So for category 3, we have these many rows, these many subcategories. So this subcategory is 18, 19, 20, like that, right? Now I will go to product lookup, wherein you have subcategory key. So it will filter the the subcategory key with only those subcategory that belongs to clothing. So I know that is 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 also, I think. That was there, right? Under subcategory. So I know that product category 3 belongs to 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, right? So it will filter out only those 25 also, 18 till 25. It will filter out only those rows that belongs to 18 to 25. So you see it, I have the entire the entire table has been filtered for only those subcategories that belongs to clothing category. And here I have few product keys, right? Few product keys. So what will happen in the final sales table? I have here product key. So this entire table will be filtered for only those product key that we got from this product lookup, after getting filtered for product subcategory that belongs to clothing category. And once that is filtered over here, once that is selected, that is filtered, this table is filtered for only those product key, then it will count that distinct order. And that is how this total orders is coming. So basically, whichever filter you will put, whatever you will pull here, it will filter the entire table based on that, and then it will calculate the total measure. That's how the measure works. So it belongs to, or it is evaluated based on filter context. That's what we mean by filter context. That means whatever thing you will pull here, that will act as a filter on the entire table, that thing will be filled. Only those rows will be seen for like individual rows. If I see, if I'm looking for accessories, the entire table will be filtered only for accessories, and then it will count the total orders, and then it will apply the total the formula for total orders that we have written over here. So that's how it works. If I look for total, since there is no filter applied, you see there is nothing over here. So that's why while calculating total, nothing will be applied, no filter will be applied over here. It will work on the entire table. So whether you have written in the measure distinct count rows, whatever you have written, sum, anything you have written, the way DAX measure works is it will look for individual filters over here. Instead of category name, let's say I pull, um, I have subcategory over here, right? So in this case, you see the numbers has changed. Why? What it is doing is it is going into the table and it is actually filtering bike racks. And after filtering bike racks, whatever total number of orders or the distinct rows of orders is there, it is giving me that number over here, right? So basis on the filter that you are applying or the field that you are pulling, the table is getting filtered, and then the measure operation is applied on top of that. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like. If you have any doubt, please ask. Is it not clear, like how it works?
Mm.
Aklilu City, you guys have any question?
Hmm. I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused, but I don't know. I I have
Okay.
to watch the video, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
actually,
Yeah.
I
yeah, actually,
look at the video
yeah.
again too. So
Okay, yeah, I would recommend to go through the video again. So because these are actually little bit tough concept, but yeah, let me know if you guys will have any more like any questions after watching the video again. I'll cover this again. Uh, okay.
can you send us the all the recorders? Which we don't see like it's like until Friday after Friday something.
After Friday, that means okay. No, after Friday, I think
I
we
mean
have uploaded
Sunday and Monday. I mean Saturday and Monday.
Saturday and Monday. Okay, it's not there. I will check. Okay, I'll ask them to upload today. Yep.
Including today.
Yeah, including today. Yeah, little bit tough concept, but let me actually try you guys explaining one more time.
But I would really appreciate it if you honestly could just go back to um, just with every function that you went over, just to give us an example, like
Mm-hmm.
how to write it, so that we can practice that.
Sorry,
I don't know for everybody.
what is the actual thing you
The
want?
functions you've covered,
Mm-hmm.
yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were just going over on this here and not actually showing us writing any measures when you were doing it, or creating the calculated columns or something. So if
No, we
you could
haven't.
actually,
We have actually covered all these.
not
We have
all of
used
them.
year, not each one of these that you can try on your own, right? But we have covered year function, we have covered today function, we have covered weekday function, we have we have covered date diff function in while calculating age, we have covered if function, we have covered and function, we have covered length function, concatenate, left, upper, substitute. We have covered most of these functions, I think. We have covered sum, average, divide. Today we have covered everything. So if you go through the
Yeah,
video
I'll go
and
through the videos.
sorry,
Yeah, I'll go through the videos and see.
yeah, I think we have covered almost 80% of all the functions. Few are left. If you want me to cover that also, I will cover that. Because why I am not covering each of these, because all the concepts are same. And the other thing is these are the most used functions, right? But doesn't mean that this is it and there are no other functions. Like there are more functions that is available out there, but these are the important functions and these are the widely used functions. If you know all of these, then that means that you will like quite comfortably you will work on the entire dashboard, right? So mostly we have covered it. If you want me to cover hour, minute, second, it works the same way. Like as we did year of date, you can do second of date time. Date time means the date time field you will put and you will get the second for that thing, right? So it's pretty same. But even if you want me to cover each one of these, then you go through the video, tell me which function you want me to cover, uh,
Okay,
and then I will cover that. But
okay, that's fine.
out of six, I think I've covered year, today, weekday, and date diff. So four functions I have covered. I have not covered. In fact, end of month also I have told, but I have not covered that. I can cover this, and this will be used in the dashboard also. So mostly it is covered. But if you want me to cover
You don't have
everything,
to
then
do it
I
now.
will.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll try it on my own. I'll watch
yeah,
the video, try it, and then if I have questions, I can email it to you or call you about that.
yeah, sure. Yeah, but if you see, we have actually created a lot of calculated columns. All these, if you see, date of week, short month, uh, weekend, all these are calculated columns or measures only everywhere. Current age, birth year, CC, full name, CC, income level. All these are calculated. Parent column, parent calculated column. Everything is actually calculated thing only. I think it's better you guys go through the video and look for like all the calculated columns and measures. You will definitely like feel comfortable because
Okay,
we
no,
have
I
covered
just remembered.
multiple things. Yeah. Yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
no, we'll do that. I just remembered one thing before I forgot I wanted to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I think because we have disabled the refresh options for, I think I mentioned this yesterday too, and I'm not sure what you ended up telling me, but
Mm-hmm.
we're not able to, I'm not able to see, like if I go to the demo report that you, the dashboards that you actually shared with us,
Mm-hmm.
none of it is being refreshed. So if I were to go in there, I don't see any of the DAX functions that you actually wrote, like the new measures and all that stuff.
That will
I don't
not
see it.
refresh. That will be not refreshed. That won't be refreshed. That is static dashboard. That you can't refresh and actually get all of these things.
So how can we see like the measures that you wrote if I don't have what, your dashboard here and all the measures that you wrote? I
I
mean,
can
just
send you
watching.
this dashboard or you can watch through the video and then do it on your own. If you want me to send, I can send this dashboard, but that won't refresh. What does refresh function does? Refresh function refreshes the backend data that is there. It will not refresh all the measures or calculator or any of the calculated columns that we are creating, right?
So it
The
doesn't capture
purpose of
anything that you do.
no, it will not. The function of refresh is to, if you see what is written, if I hover over here, what you see, get the latest data by refreshing all visuals in the report. It will not refresh the formulas or any new thing that we are creating. It will just refresh the data that is out there in the backend. If you change the data in the backend, it will refresh that.
Mm.
Understood?
Yeah, I thought my understanding of it was that anything that you do would be
No, no,
captured
no.
or would be updated on the
No, no, no.
on the report, and then when you share it with us or whatever we have here, that it will update automatically. But because I know that I disabled mine for the sake of the assignment, that I wasn't getting the option refreshed. You know, any updated data on here.
Okay. No
But
problem.
you're
I will share this dashboard with you guys so that you have
saying,
a reference. But the purpose of refresh is just to refresh the data, just to get the latest data, and not it will not refresh any calculation that we are doing in here. Okay.
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So any updates that you make to the report or anything like that doesn't actually refresh. Like it doesn't get updated. You don't.
No,
Well, that's
no, it
interesting.
will not get refreshed. No.
Okay.
And it will not happen anywhere. It's not for this particular report. Nobody can do the refresh and have like all the calculations. Nowhere you will do that. The purpose of refresh button is only to refresh the data, the backend latest data if you want to fetch. That's it.
So in the event that you're working on an actual report, this is not just for this one. I'm talking in just in general. So in the event that you're working on an actual report, you're creating a report, and so whenever you're asked, hey, okay, so what have you done so far? How much have you gotten done? Um, how do they see it if they don't actually, like, if I shared with them the report and say, hey, this is what I have so far, but then I've done something new, I've made some, changes or updates to the report, how can they see it unless, so I have to keep sharing the report over and over every time I make any changes, because so that they can see the updates that I've made to it.
Yeah, that's how it works. Like you need to, if you are sharing it through Power Service or anything, you need to make the changes and you need to upload it over there so that they can see the latest version.
So every time I have to change it, like I have to share it with them every time to show them the changes that I've made. It
Yes.
doesn't actually automatically update on their end because
No,
I've made an
no,
update on my end.
no, that won't work.
Oh.
Mhm. What
If
about
there
if
is,
they
if
have an
there is
access?
the, sorry,
Hmm?
What about if they have an
if they, sorry, I didn't get your question, City. Can you come again?
So she said she have to send it every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
She said that, right? So if, well, what about if they have an access? So every time she update the data, they can see it, right?
So there is something, or there is a place wherein, let's say Power Service, right?
Hmm.
So that is a place wherein few of the people from the organization or whoever is working in your team, in your organization, will have access to that location. Every time you make change, you upload your dashboard over there. They also have access to that location, you also have access to that location. Once you update it, you just drop a message that I have updated the dashboard and placed it here, placed it in this location, or everybody will know what is the location because that will remain same every time, and they will go and see the dashboard from there. You don't need to share it on mail or anything. There will be a place wherein you can upload your dashboard every time you make any changes over there. What will happen if there is change of only the latest data, like if you have to, there is no change in any calculation or aesthetically, like any formatting change or anything you have done from your end. It's just that the new data has come and they have to look for the refreshed dashboard with the latest data. They can press this button and see the latest report, latest dashboard, like the dashboard with latest data. But if there is changes, any changes that you have done your from your end, like formatting, filtering, or any calculation, then you will have to upload the latest dashboard over there in that location and let them know that you have uploaded it.
And you have to manually email them or notify them. There's no actual, I guess button that you can just kind of, or yeah, you can press to tell them, oh, an update was made, and you can go in there and check. You have to manually send it to them.
No, so I think that is, there is no such button over there, but all those automation that you are talking about, that you can do in the backend, that is like separate from the Power BI thing, right? Like if you upload any dashboard, then there will be automatically mail that will get forwarded to them saying that this has been updated. Those things are different from what we do in Power BI.
Okay.
That automation and everything is very different, but that is the approach that you follow, that you upload it and you let them know. How you will let
Okay.
them know, whether you have automated that process or you are telling on your own, that is like depending on the different organization how
Okay.
it works.
Okay. Thank you, Mia.
No problem. Yeah, so go through these videos and then we will actually talk about few more calculate function and all those things tomorrow.
Okay,
Right.
dear. Thank you
Mostly,
so much.
yeah, any questions, anyone? Then, yeah, it will take time to actually digest all of these. So yeah, you can revisit the video and then come back with the questions. So we will cover that, any doubts you will have.
Okay.
Okay, so for today, let's wrap the session. And before